We are live.
We are live? Woohoo!
Alive, alive.
André. André, Natasha.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Me too. You're shorter than I thought.
Everyone says the same.
Wait, I
Sound like one
you
like
said
one.
yeah, you said that just got certain.
Can you send that?
Okay, I'm a little taller than I usually. There you go.
André, by the way, sorry, we don't do this body shaming, so but it's Natasha. No. I apologize on behalf of Pipedrive for the.
Acontece ao contrário, você faz batata, tipo, pessoas que só
So, should we settle down? Okay. There's plenty of room still here in the front. If you guys want to sit down, please. No. Shy people in the back, you want to sit down here? No, just.
There's very shy people over here.
Good. Yeah, we have.
They prefer to be near the fridge.
Why? I don't know. Okay, just give it 1 second. Okay, cool. Thank you. So welcome. Really, it's really different to see a lot of people on site in the flesh for the first time ever. So, or since the last 2 years. Yeah. There's a few people here that have met today for the first time, I'm sure. So, and see. And apologies for some of the remarks for the people at home that were watching already live. But yeah. So today, what brought us here? We are going to be talking, and this is like a very informal conversation. We have one item in our bucket list, which is talking about collaboration, R&D collaboration. So meaning product managers, product designers, developers. How do we get along, right? These three functions that have to work together on a daily basis. We have 3 of our own R&D team members. So we have one person from products, Nuno. We have one person from design system, design side. And we have one of the developers at home, an engineering manager now. And our very special guest, André Albuquerque, is here. You all know him probably from the 1 month PM, Catholic training, Kitch, and several other things that I will not mention, but you will have the chance to mention anyway. Okay, so we have a very interesting conversation ahead of us. As you guys can see in the screen and at home, I hope you guys can see it somehow, but we will open Slido to questions. So I'm going to ask one question to our guests, and the remaining questions are all about you guys, okay? So this is like the good thing about attending an event or watching a live at home is that we'll just kind of ask you to go to slido.com and punch in 7046942. I'll repeat, 7046942, okay? The people in the room have the advantage that this is in the screen, so they can always look at it and notice. The people at home, please, one last time, 7046942. Okay, it's the Slido code that you just have to punch in and throw away questions. We are asking for names, so no anonymous questions, I heard. Yeah, so, and we'll see how that goes. So, starting by my left side, Nuno, do you want to present yourself a little bit more?
Sure. It's okay. Yeah. So I'm Nuno Oliveira. I work at the product department. Is it working? Okay. Product department at Pipedrive for about 3 years now. Before that, my background is actually in telco engineering. So by trade, I'm a telco engineer. But after that, I realized that it was quite boring, and I was like doing all the same things all over again. Even though, you know, I was working for like top telco operators, you know, in the 21st century, the work was really, really boring. And at some time I realized, well, I don't want to do this, you know, all my life. So at that moment I had the opportunity to shift to the product area. at that company, and I think it was the best move I could have had. And I had the opportunity also to join Pipedrive that has been a huge challenge and opportunity. So yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more what you do at Pipedrive? So is it a specific product area? Do you manage people? What is
So basically I've been responsible for the automations area in Pipedrive since I joined. And so we have a team that I work together with designers, other PMs and engineers. We work together and we'll talk a lot about that.
We'll get there. Okay.
But yeah.
Thank you, Nuno.
We have a very healthy relationship. Sometimes, other times.
We'll get to the therapy afterwards. Okay. Thank you. Humar, you guys.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay, so a little bit, as Nuno said, I'm also working at automations inside Pipedrive. So doing product design. We'll explain a little bit further after. But before I was like in another areas. So I started as a graphic designer. I've been web designer. Then I found the passion about front end. Then I've been front end developer. So at a certain point, I was like, I can't do all. So I decided like, let's focus in something. So I decided to move to product and then started to learn more like research methodologies and then later Pipedrive things.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Humar. And
is it
André.
me?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is André. I'm used to doing this in English, so my name changes apparently. I'm currently at Kitch. It's a food tech company. I lead product research and design. I joined the founding team, so we started the company mid 2019, helping restaurants kind of be better at delivery. Great timing, by the way. So worked really well. So early this year, we got acquired by Glovo. Great partners. Now we're scaling the team, so we're 100 people right now. So it's been fun. Apart from that, I run my PM accelerator program. I don't even know how to call it. I just have fun. Called 1 Month PM, where we run monthly cohorts, helping people learn how to build products. Also work at a venture capital firm called Chilling, helping the portfolio operate better. So if you're building a company, check chilling.vc. We're looking always for the best talent to invest. Also teach at Católica, and I occasionally sleep when I have time. But
about to ask you that, so you do have time to sleep and read.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you, André. Pedro.
So it's cool. So I'm Pedro. Nice to meet you all, and thank you for coming to meet our wonderful office that will soon move to another one nearby. Basically, I didn't start actually as a software developer. I'm now an engineering manager here at Pipedrive, at one of the tribes that exists here. And I didn't take computer science. I started as a biomedical engineer at the time. And mostly because my sister was my role model and she went to medicine. And my parents really wanted me to go to medicine, but I needed a scapegoat for it. So I tried to convince them just to like, okay, biomedical engineering is a bit medicine / engineering. So I got scapegoated into that direction. And actually, it was really the best path. So when I finished my master's, I actually didn't want to work in a company at the beginning. Me and one of my best friends tried to create a company that it actually in 1 year, we failed miserably, but I think we learned a lot from it. Actually afterwards, I actually decided, okay, I think I need some experience actually before trying to create a thing from scratch. So I entered the software world, and I joined KPMG at the time, and being consultancy more or less 3 years, working mainly for UK, US, and for German companies. And then I got sick of consultancy. Sorry. It's good for a while, but I thought I want to do something else. And actually, 3 years ago, I came to a meetup right here on this spot, and I learned a bit more about Pipedrive, and actually I decided to apply at a time point. And afterwards, 3 years, I'm here. As Ricard said, I'm a newly engineering manager here at Pipedrive, and we own a sub-part of the product. Mainly, as you all might know, Pipedrive, what it does, of course, but basically from the Pipedrive product, we try to help salespeople and close deals even faster with quoting, digital signatures, payment solutions. So basically, that's what we do here.
Thank you so much, Franco. So, Nuno, do you want to go ahead and answer my only question, which is, have you guys always got along with, so in your case, you're a product manager, have you ever always got along with your designers and your developers, the ones in your teams? If so, what's your secrets? If not, how did you start learning to kind of collaborate together better?
Yeah, so I've got along with everyone except Humar. So I think I never had like a big conflict, as we might call it. But of course, there are different personalities in teams. So I don't think it's like a product thing or design thing. It's people, right? When you work in collaboration with people, of course, there are different personalities, different ways of thinking, and of course, in our I think world, which is very creative, and there's a lot of solution that we need to find together, I think there's more room for this kind of conflicts. I think it's normal.
But is there something process-wise or kind of dynamics that you can put in place in the team that help you to better work together with everyone?
Yeah, it's a bit okay. So in my case, I think from my experience, one very important thing to have in any team is a clear sense of purpose. So every team needs to know what they're looking after. So what's the direction? And one of the things that we've learned in Pipedrive actually recently, that we had different objectives for different teams. So we had engineering teams with some objectives, design teams with different objectives, product teams with different objectives. And of course, that leads to, different priorities and different, steps to reach those objectives. Okay. And one very good decision that I think we've made is to, as we work together as a team, so there's this collaboration that we really need, very tight between product managers, product designers, engineers, that what we call a tribe. We work in tribes, and you can check it out in Pipedrive's website, what that actually means. But we are a group of people working together. We need to have a common purpose. So we need to have a common goal. And there's a lot of frameworks. We use OKR's framework. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's one of the frameworks to help us get alignment and get goals. I think that helps a lot because then we are on the same page when we plan what we need to do and decisions that we need to make. That's one of the key things.
Okay, cool. Humar, is he telling the truth or not?
I can confirm on that because, as Pedro said, I also worked in I think 2 years on a consultant, and from previous experiences before coming into Pipedrive, like sometimes we tend to be more close to people that are from the same role. So like me as a designer, I tend to hang out and only work close to designers, and then engineers know. So at the end, we have the tribes that are like teams with the same goal, with the same purpose. And what Nuno and all the tribe tries to do is if we make part from the same, we have to have the same goal. So everyone needs to know the roadmap, needs to know what is the vision of the product area. And on a daily basis, I try to always put engineers and other kind of roles a part of what I'm doing. Not I'm a designer and I will work on silos. So I think that's it. Like,
So understanding and trying to get a sense of what you guys just said. It's basically about purpose and having a shared purpose in between the team, and then of course sharing the findings and sharing the work that we are doing together that kind of reinforce that sense of belonging of the team. Is that it?
Yeah, I'll just add that it's not only having that purpose, it's also the process to get there. So we been working to build that together as a team. So it's not like I'm the product manager and I say, no, this is what we're going to do. It doesn't work like that, right? Of course, there's responsibilities and there's clear roles on different areas for each one of us. But I think one of the key aspects is you are part of the process. You are part of those decisions. So you feel that you are committed to those as well. So you want to actually get there to that vision because you believe in that. Yeah.
Cool. André, so you had to build from scratch right now at Kitch, and now you're scaling up. I'm sure that you have some exciting stories to share on collaboration and challenges or good stuff that you just want to share overall.
Yeah, yes, I have a lot of scars. But anyway, is it okay if I accidentally curse? Because it happens when I get excited. Is it okay?
It should be okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, apologize if it's not okay. It might happen. Yeah, we can cut it. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so the main question is collaboration, right? Is like, do we get along? I think it matters. But I think like but I might be a bit contrarian on a few things. If people disagree, please, I accept your disagreement. I'd love to know why.
Is available?
Yeah. Slides available. Yeah. So I think collaboration is really important, but a lot of people confuse collaboration with getting along, with working together. I think these are different concepts, and the reasons why you need them to perform as product groups, they're also different, right? I think this concept, I don't know, I think at Pipedrive doesn't happen. I don't know how you guys work, but like one really important thing about collaboration that we make really clear, at least at my team, is like the concept of family. I don't know if a lot of companies go with this, like, oh, family, and we're a family, welcome to the family, and the team, you're a family. It's not true. It's bullshit. It's not true. It shouldn't be true, right? And I think it was like the CEO of Shopify, he talked about this. He said, like, the thing with families is you don't pick your family. You're kind of born into it, and you can't get away. Whether it's crap or great, yeah, you can get away. You can run, but they exist. In teams, you can get away. yeah, right. And you pick, and that's very different from a family. I like the analogy of the sports team. It's like sports team. That's what a team should be. It's like a sports team. The collaboration is not because you have to collaborate. It's because you want to collaborate, and you want to collaborate because you have the best athletes around you, and that you're the best athlete as well, and they want to be around you, and that leads to collaboration. So collaboration is not where you start from, is where you get to because you have the right people working together. And I think that's my contrarian, a bit of a different view of looking at collaboration.
That also reminds me of a famous quote by Marty Kagan when in Inspired, it says, what's the goal of the keeper in soccer? And everyone says, oh, it's to prevent goals from getting in the goal. It's like, no, the goal of the keeper should be the same goal as the team, which is win the freaking game. So if the goalie is just preventing other players from scoring, or the team from scoring goals, is just going for the tie. So it would be okay for him if the team ties. So that's not the end goal of the team. The team itself wants to win. So to your point, that's exactly it. So if you just focus on your thing and you don't think, okay, so how can we collaborate? It's like just weird. It's
I agree, and I want to comment a few things that Humar and I keep forgetting the names of Nuno and Nuno said. I agree with both the things you said. Like purpose, mission matters, and I think you also mentioned like PMs managing teams, and so it's like I think theoretically that's right, but then in practice, oftentimes it's actually not true. Like purpose does matter, but a lot of people perform really well without ever knowing the purpose of what they're doing. They're just excited about building what they're building. They're excited about moving the OKR, the metric that their team owns, or they're excited about shipping something because that's what matters to them. So I think generalizing the concept of like purpose matters and your team needs to be purpose driven or mission driven. And so is like theoretically, again, I think Marty Keegan writes about this. Yeah, of course it makes sense. But then you see reality, and a lot of teams, like I see a lot of PMs and product leaders spending way too much time trying to perfect the purpose and the mission of a team, while that is actually contributing nothing to the ability of that team performing. So I think in theory, and I hope we all get there where people care about purpose, but you'll realize that for a lot of teams, optimizing performance is not so much about the purpose. And I'm just saying this because, yeah, I've failed myself in trying to optimize certain teams to be purpose driven and caring about that. And when they actually embraced, it was more of a like, oh, okay, we have to do this because Albuquerque wants us to do this, but it's actually not the thing that makes them perform. Yeah, just.
I think as all things, there's a lot of these answers like it depends. It depends on the team and depends on the context that we are in. But what I found is not only like defining the purpose for the team, as I was saying before, it's like the team actually owning the purpose. So for me, I think that's where I see the change happening when people are really invested in not only the purpose or the vision. I think that's just a starting point, but actually, okay, what should we build next to get there? You know, and that gets people excited. So I feel that that's, at least from my experience, when people are really engaged, when I feel like the team is engaged, like, oh yeah, we want to do this next. Oh, I would like to have this, you know, chip to customers. It's not only me as a product manager that should be excited, right? The whole team should be. So I think that's the plan.
And I think that has a little bit to do with the thing that we actually do at Pipedrive that I think it's good, which is the purpose that we are talking about is more of what's the end goal of the team. So what are we trying to achieve here? So what jobs to be done are we trying to meet? What things are we trying to achieve? And that's the purpose. So when we talk about purpose, it's more of a what's the mission, right? And it's not like a theory. I agree with you. It's not a theoretical and overthought mission. Is more of a what it is that we are contributing to our users, and we know, okay, that makes sense, and now we know what the hell we are doing here. And it helps, really helps. But Franco, sorry, Humar.
Just to comment on what and I was saying, but for example, we have people that don't know about the purpose, like to focus on what they want to build, but we also have like the people who drives the other members of the team, people that have more opinion, people that like to participate, to know the vision, to know what is he going. So we have this 3 and 4 kind of person, but then at least like giving your team like the vision of what you are doing, giving at least he knows where it is, the roadmap. He can see if I'm the one that I don't want to contribute with the vision, but at least I know what blocks I will build. So in September I will do this, in October I will do this and that, and at least like is still like motivated. Like, okay, all the year I have a roadmap of what I probably will build, even that I don't want to participate on the vision. That's at least what we try to do.
Yeah, I would just wanted to jump in something that Nuno said that I think for me it's really, really important, and I think the key word is co-creation. It's something that I really admire since I would say the first manager that I had spoke about, with me about it. And at the time I said, I have no clue what this guy is talking about. And actually when I joined Pipedrive, I started to realize it like bit by bit, because I started getting more involved in actually the creation, not about the purpose, but about co-creating where we want to go and what are actually our goals and how actually collaborate together. Because what I felt before was actually a lack of ownership, and actually that I could in the end choose where I actually want to go in a certain dimension. And I think here in Pipedrive, and especially the relationship with the PMs and designers and engineers, it's crucial on this, because as soon as most of all the profiles or work together as soon as possible in the creation of the product or where they want to go, people feel much more ownership about their own work. And at least for me, I feel much more motivated to do it. And I even have a saying that, for example, there's product designers and product managers, and there's software developers. For me, there's no software developers, there's product engineers, because all of three are building the product together.
André, do you want to, from the experience that you had in multiple places, being at early startups or scaling the team now from scratch, and then getting some fuel on the fire from the investment and now the need to scale, is there something that you would kind of throw in as a tip from your recent learnings or your not so recent learnings for anyone that is just trying to assemble a team and just trying to make things work?
From an organization perspective, like
from whichever
anything?
perspective, yeah.
Okay, so
share one of those scars that you have that taught you something, and then
yeah, I have too many. I was telling the story about shipping the first version of Kitch. That brought a lot of scars, but that actually ties. Okay, so I think this story is good. So we shipped the first version of Kitch from the moment we hired the first engineer and we start discussing scope to get to production in 40 days. That was it. So 40 days we shipped. And when I had a discussion with the founders, so we were discussing like, okay, we got to accelerate. And like to the founders, Nuno, they went like, okay, so I think we can ship this in 6 months. And I go like 2 weeks. They're like, you're crazy. I go, okay, it wasn't 2 weeks, it was 40 days. It's I failed miserably, but it was not 6 months. It made a big difference. And I think like, and this is the funny part is, I'm gonna land this plane. The funny part is, we shipped on Friday, the 13th of March, 2020. That's the day where our Prime Minister said everything is gonna close. And we're building kitchens to help restaurants which had too many people inside be able to do delivery. You know what happens when everything closes? There's no one. So kitchens are useless. Great. So that's a Friday, by the way. You shouldn't ship on Fridays. You don't deploy to production on Fridays. We did. Honestly, there's nothing else. It's like new codes. What's going to break? It's either broken in your staging environment pre-production or not going to break anything else. There's nothing else there. So it's fine. So we ship on a Friday. Only first and last. My delivery team does not allow us to ship on Fridays, which they shouldn't. And the funny part is that we shipped on that Friday and we realized that everything we shipped was useless because in literally 5 days, because the economy was going to close in 5 days, it was Wednesday next week, no one would be on our kitchens. So we had to kind of rebuild, not fully rebuild. We had to kind of pivot the distribution of the software to put it across every restaurant, not on our kitchens. This is a big change, at least mindset-wise. And that created a lot of scars. It's like, okay, you're spending 40 days to build a product, and then literally in 48 hours, you have to change everything to change your go-to-market. So that's great. And this is Friday, so weekend, here we go. So 2 things that I got from that. A lot of scars, yes. But the second thing, which is about purpose, which is better than thinking about a mission or like, why do we exist? The best purpose is, shit, we got to solve this. Beautiful purpose. Everyone rallied. Everyone's like, we got to do this. That is the best type of purpose. It's like, everyone knows this is where we're going to get. This is like success. We're going to celebrate as hell. This is crazy hard, which is basically principles of vision. And we did it. Like we were able in 48 hours to change what we needed to change to shape. And on Tuesday, not Wednesday, Tuesday, we're operating in the restaurants ready for a Wednesday shut off of the economy. So that, I think that's scar number 1. That's how I tied into purpose. And number 3 here, which is my big learning, which is, and then I can talk a bit more about this, is the importance of like one-on-ones. And especially in the moments where you gotta rally the team and they're literally desperate. They feel like the world's dying, everything's gonna fail. And on average, people are not ambitious. On average, I got it. On average, people are not, and I can fill this with a lot of different things. People are not ambitious. They're not crazy. Okay, so if you have someone who is crazy, use that person to like incinerate the ambition within people. Now, I am crazy normally, at least this is what my team says, the 15 days versus 6 months of founders. And founders normally are crazy. So you can see this, the spectrum. But those one-on-ones to get people pumped, excited, out of that desperation of like, nothing's gonna work, we're gonna die, this is like towel off, is like really important. I think those were my biggest lessons from my war story.
Those are the war stories that everyone will remember. And I think there's no better way to build a team than actually a war story. And from previous experience, whenever you have one of those what the F moments, it's when you get a team, basically. If you don't have it by then, when you do have one of those rally moments, that's it. And I had a very similar story. A client told us, either you do this in 14 days or your $1 million contract goes on the drain. And so very cool. But I know that we have few questions from Slido. Okay.
Yeah, I finally get to hear myself talk. Just kidding. I will go to the audience, but before that, there's a great question on Slido, a follow-up to Nuno and André. How can PMs actually, in practical ways, help to align engineering and design on vision and strategy?
Okay, I can share a bit on how we actually do it. So we have been adopting process that helps us do this on a regular basis. So every quarter, we come together as a team, have a team event, and we go back to basics to revisit why are we here? What are like our goals, our OKRs? Do they actually need to be changed? Is it still make sense based on evidence that you get from metrics and product company strategy, all of that? So does it still make any sense, or do we need to change? Of course, if anything catastrophic happens, we need to change at that moment, right? This is like the regular, normal process. So, and then we got together as a team and we revisit that and look forward. Okay, so what are the actions that we need to do to get there? Of course, we already have a plan, so we need to revisit that. And one thing that it's a tip that really helped us, has been helping us a lot, is sometimes there's like different opinions, different points of view between different topics. And of course, we need to have more evidence that supports that. So in order to reduce opinions and, okay, this is the data, actually, this is the evidence. And one thing that we actually have been doing, and it's helped us a lot, is to have moments where we split into two teams. So we have like this moment, okay, let's work into two teams, cross function. So teams with engineers, product designers, product managers, and then each team will work on the plan based on this evidence. And funny enough is after these two teams work on the plan, they present it to each other, and it typically ends up being very similar. They are very similar plans, which really helps us align. So after that, because if you have like a team of 13, 14 people trying to come up with a plan, it's going to be really hard. If it's smaller number of people, it's really easier to get into alignment. But the funny part is it has been happening almost all the time. The end plan is the same, and we just need to basically adjust tweak it. So this is really helped us align and collaborate on building something.
Yeah, so the question is how to align on vision between like this trio, right? Okay, so I think the reason why this question comes up, and this is not the first time I get this question. I think the reason and the problem why this is the question is because most teams do a mistake, which is they optimize for work in progress, which means we got to maximize everyone working. the most typical people suffering are engineers. Like we have, imagine 100 story point capacity over a period of time. Let's go with that. Really easy. This is how you calculate engineering capacity. And the teams go for, we got to put 100 story points of work. And this is crap because then you're not actually using engineers' brains to think beyond developing. And that's crazy. That's wasting potential. So I think before we tackle like how can we work together better in a vision, we got to solve this problem, which is we cannot be always optimizing for maximum work in progress. That's step number one. Step number two is people need to understand what vision is. I counted about 60 plus people here. I bet that if I ask each one of you what vision, product vision is, I get 60 different answers. So when you have different people giving different answers about the thing that you should be collaborating about, but it's going to fail. So you got to align what vision is, and there needs to be an agreement between the people involved in the team what vision is. Step number three is we got to understand why do we need a vision. The team needs to agree what's the problem before trying to solve the problem. And people need to realize the vision is what tells the story of the future, is what shows you where you're going. And people need to realize we need vision because X, okay? When they agree, they'll prioritize working on that. And then final step is you need to work together to build it. It's not like, oh, the PM is going to tell us what the vision is. No, we're going to work together and we're going to write it. I think that's mistake number N, meaning that it always happens across everyone, is people talk about it, but you don't actually codify it. So I think the final step is let's reduce work in progress. Let's dedicate and prioritize building a vision because we understand what it is and why we're doing it. And then let's write it together so that we all agree this is the thing we're going to be chasing. And I think this is, from my experience, how I've maximized working on this as a team.
Okay. Yeah. Back to you.
Okay, maybe I'll jump to if anybody has a question in the audience. Oh, you guys came all the way over here.
You just raise your
Okay,
arm.
back to Slido. So the next question, have you had any experience with engineers wanting to join the product org or the other way around? And if so, what are the pros and cons?
No? No? No?
I have. For good and for bad. Okay, so both. So that's engineers just joining the product org or anyone not? How is the question framed?
I said the other way around too.
The other way around. So
anyone
product.
jumping anywhere
Yeah.
So product manager
in the triage. Yeah.
So.
Or a designer. Don't exclude the
Okay,
designers.
the designer. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So I try not to get PMs trying to join the engineering team. That is a liability to the code base. But I did have a lot of people from design, research, and engineering areas joining the product group. There's good things and bad things. The good thing is they understand immediately how the process works. And I think that kind of shortcuts execution. That's really good. It also shortcuts trust because a big part of building good products is the teams building them trust each other. Because in the end of the day, everyone is kind of a proxy decision maker of the other. PMs will be a proxy decision maker of the engineers and they'll take decisions on their behalf. Designers will be proxy decision makers of the process of building the experience. Engineers will be a proxy of the best decisions to build the software and to think through the architecture to deliver that. So everyone is kind of needs to trust the other that they'll do the best possible within the shortest time frame to learn the fastest. I mean, that's kind of a basic, but so that's shortcut. It shortcuts that. The problem is they have a really hard time taking that hat off. And if you need to trust your trio or whoever you work with, that they own their area and you've done their job for the last X amount of time, it becomes really hard to distance yourself and focus on what you're technically supposed to do. So that's the bad part of the transitions. But all in all, I like it. I get an insider and I get to, yeah, I like it. I like it even more when I get to get people from other areas of the company.
I was about to say that my most surprising experiences and probably the ones that impressed me the most, because I was not expecting so much return on investment, just from the short, it was people from support and people from QA. Actually, in my previous experiences, the ones that surprised me the most were people from QA because they had an immense knowledge about the product because he knew the product inside and out, like no one in the team knew, which was okay, that's a thing. And then from support, because guess what? From all the time they spend engaging with customers, they know a lot of the pains that are out there. So they will be the first ones saying, we have a lot of empathy because we've heard them a lot of times and on and on. So, yeah.
Actually, we have a lot of those examples as well. We have Mike, Mike. Alex knows Mike from project management. Mike was in support, in the support team, and now he's like one of our great talents in the PM team. So also before, when I joined, there was like Pedro Gallardo, which was the PM for automation that he actually was previously on support. So we do have great opportunities here as well. And we see that, again, that empathy for the customer, I think that's the key word there. It's very important for people in product, but actually for me, everyone in the team should empathize with our users. That's why we, actually do what we do, right? Sorry, but I remember I had one experience with someone from design joining the engineering team, and it went really, really, really great, actually. Yeah, and funny enough, now that person is back in design. I don't know what that means, but
Voluntarily back?
Voluntarily, no, not in Pipedrive anymore, but yeah, she's in the design. I don't know if that really worked or not.
Okay, cool. Natasha, do we have more exciting questions?
I have all the questions. How do you define objectives for the tribe? I believe at Kitch there's squads, tribes, squads, teams, whatever you call them. How do you define objectives, top down or bottom up?
I would say both. Basically, we have what Nuno said before, the OKR framework that the company uses. So we trace basically objectives, key results, and initiatives that we want to do, and we have to align with our, I would say, the upper layers that we have. But they also have objectives that we have at our department at tribe level that we have. So basically, imagine that the objective of our layer up is like, I don't know, we want to increase 20% of Pipedrive revenue, for example. And they have, for example, some key results that each department must have, like, we must hire five new PMs or 5 new engineers because we have to scale the team. Those hires translate into what, for example, in our departments represents, for example, create a more welcoming environment. It's an objective for us because if we create a better environment, we'll attract more talent and we can onboard more people. Or we actually have to make technical excellence because more people will like to work here, and we're able to enhance the products in order to advance to new areas. So we have this layer top down, and we have also department specific objectives.
Yeah, you look up and you see how you can contribute to those, and then you set your own. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think just adding up to this, I think that's pretty much what we've been doing, which is, of course, our Pipedrive has, objectives and key results from the business side of things, and then each team has the autonomy to, propose how can we actually contribute to that, to achieve that under our scope, of course. But there's also some autonomy to, I think that's the highest priority, I would say, OKRs, but we also have autonomy to, if we see an opportunity in our scope, to propose it and to see if it fits, of course, to the company vision. Yeah.
André, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. I think we follow a similar process. So yeah, both really important. It's really important. I think there's no just bottom up, and I hate people that are whining about like, oh, it needs to be bottom up. I need to make all decisions. No, you don't. You don't have full visibility to do all decisions, so you shouldn't. I think so we have the OKRs, and then we have high level opportunities. So that's kind of owned by leadership and management at large. And then we do empower the teams to bottom up think about solutions, as was said. And they think like both solutions and opportunities. They can propose opportunities, of course, Because in the end of the day, those closer to the what I call the graph, kind of turpentine, they'll be the best to know what we need to build. It's not going to be leadership who's flying helicopter level that's going to know what to be built. We don't even know sometimes what's possible to be built or what's going to be actually a complex liability, like technically impossible thing within a time frame. So I think empowering teams to do that bottom up is really important. And then I usually say that we meet in the middle where we agree around scope. So what can you do and what's acceptable for me from a leadership perspective? Timeline, which is when do we believe we can do this, and resources. What do I make available for you? And then usually is like pick 2 out of 3. It's like if you control resources and timeline, then I control scope. If you control scope and timeline, then I need to have the resources. If you control, I forgot. Like I don't know what the other one is, but you get the point. So yeah, I think that connection there is really important to make this work.
Okay, makes sense. That makes sense. Natasha, 1 or 2 more questions, and then
As many
go
as
for
you
the
want.
final remark.
We haven't heard from Humar in a while, so how is the design team structured? I assume at Pipedrive, and how specifically how many people work in design in total, including UX, UI, research, and graphics? You better know this off the top of your head,
Damn.
and you need to name them all.
Yeah, I will name like the director and everybody. Very broad question. Let me do a sketch. So at total, we are now. I think we are we are more than 50 designers, right? Right, Camille? Okay, she confirmed. I'm not lying, and we are organized like we have art directors. We have people that do like design for marketing. We have people that works in After Effects, that animate, like when you see like those posts on LinkedIn from Pipedrive. And just kidding, but and we have product designers, of course. We have researchers and like not inside; they have their own like
Different area.
yeah, different area. But we product designers also do research. We have more. We have user interface designers that work on the website. We have what else? Design ops, exactly. That is a department focused on like the processes for other designers. It's like product designer, the end customer, like people who use Pipedrive. We can call it like that. People who use Pipedrive, and then the design ops, the end customer are the designers. And we also have the design alignment. Design alignment is the team responsible for our design system. So they are, I can be honest that they are pretty good at it, because on my past experiences, normally designers need to share and do a bit of the design system. And we have, I think they are probably like 18 people focused on that. So, and they are already in the 5th version of our design system, and they are those who take care of not only the components, but like the tone, the voice in our interfaces. But yeah, that's basically the structure. So we have alignment that take care of consistency, and we all use the same components. And they not only have the components like libraries on Figma, but we have like portals with the actual components and like. And then we have like department that takes care more of marketing, and then we have like product that are product designers that work more on different product areas. We can call it like that.
The research part. Sorry. That we also do have a different team that covers research. We usually used to have researchers in each tribe, so each tribe had dedicated researcher. But as we scaled, it didn't make sense anymore. So now we have like a centralized team of researchers that actually make sure that all the more strategic research is done, especially for like management or execs. But not only that, but like all the guidelines and how we should actually do research. You know, the best practices are passed on to PMs, designers, especially, so that we can be autonomous and do it by ourselves.
Yeah. And you said a very good one. every designer that jumps in Pipedrive. So in onboarding, like they propose like for us to take some research courses led by the design by the research team. So research fundamentals like surveys, interviews, usability testings, and all of those kind of research methods. Saying this, and they are more aligned in doing like continuously like research, more as Nuno said, aligned with the business vision, like doing like surveys for like big amounts of customers, like thousands and thousands, and analyze the data.
Just as a comparison, André, how is the design team organized at Kitch?
Definitely not that large.
I know.
I think it's more than how it's organized is what's the mission of design at Kitch. I think it's more interesting, which is I usually say like a lot of people diminish the vision of a product designer within the team as the person with the skills to design whatever needs to be designed. And I think it goes way beyond that. I think it's owning the experience. I usually say to my teams, like, if you can get to not build something and solve the problem, then you're actually doing a better job. Like if I get the engineers to not go to their IDEs, if I get designers to not go to Figma, if I get product managers not to contribute to Epic or anyone to write a Jira ticket, like, and the problem gets solved, everyone did a better job than anything else. So I think I see the mission of designers pushing the possibilities of solutions that start with not building, and then progress into adding more to the solution that adds building, and ideally iteratively adds more complexity to it. So I think the mission of the design team at Kitch is that one. Then of course it breaks down into product design and thinking how this is done for the product experience, research, what questions should we ask to guarantee that we're only building what we need to build, et cetera, et cetera. But it's similar without yet the layers of like design ops. We do have research ops, but it's led by research. We don't have alignment or art. It's still very early. Eventually, hopefully we get there. That's good news. I think it's a great the org design. Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. That's the last one.
Does anyone want to take this mic out of my hands? Yeah.
Oh, there's a hand in the room. Mike? Go ahead.
I have a question about acquisition by Glovo. So how was the acquisition going, and how was after acquisition? Was it complicated to align your team with new product vision, like with the Glovo? How it was a new culture?
Right. No, I think it was super easy, but I think it's because one, Glovo is a great partner. I think they've been amazing at supporting us to keep our culture, actually keep growing our way of building, giving us the autonomy to progress with our strategy, the way we keep building. In the end of the day, look, Glovo is a 3,000 plus people company with, I don't know, 1,000 people in the engineering, design, and product area. It's like quite a few orders of magnitude larger than us. So trying to make us be closer to their vision and their culture and their principles would actually break us. Makes no sense. So they've been great at allowing us to keep our autonomy, and more importantly, opening up their doors for us to learn, to access resources and knowledge that they gathered over a large period of time, and bring it to us. I think it was great. I might be making this very rosy, but it is actually true. It's actually true.
Yeah, and we can speak about the experience because Pipedrive was acquired, help me out, guys, 1.5 years ago.
Half year ago.
Yeah, so the 2021, 2020, November 2020.
And X Pipedrive.
The X Pipedrive.
It's confirming it. Yes.
And we all heard the rumors about, when you get acquired and like all those spooky things and all that. What we have learned is that we now have a portfolio of companies that we can actually access and tap in, and people that have the same struggles we do, or they've been there, they solved it. So we can actually look at them and search them and engage with them to learn how they did it. So, okay, so how did you crack the scalability issue of something? How did you come across this and that? So it's very cool. We didn't have the challenge of having like it is a VC company with a portfolio of companies. The only challenge that they have is that we are the first ever company in their portfolio that is not enterprise driven. So we are aiming to micro, small, and medium-sized market, and it's something that it's new for them in the portfolio. So no one in the portfolio has done that. So it's like, oh, those kids know something that we don't know how to address, and everyone is then so impressed because you guys are in every region. How you did it? It's like, yeah, we had to survive.
Yeah, I think our experience might be again rosy versus a lot of people who went through acquisitions and it was shit. I think we're lucky, probably. I think a funny thing also happened, and it's public. I think I can speak about this. Is like in the middle of our acquisition, Glovo was acquired. That was weird. So I don't. In the end of the day, look, I'm joking, but this is true. No, they were kind of acquired. Their main investor became full like owner majority, and that actually happening between our own process. So I was like, it's very funny because so we're basically like going through the same challenges that they're going through. So we don't know if like, oh, they're taking care of that. That's why they're leaving us so autonomous. And when it's done, they're gonna come in and say like, we're gonna fuck you up. No, I'm joking. They're not gonna say that. But I mean, in the end of the day, if our execution and strategy doesn't work, I'd see that happen. I mean, it might. Doesn't mean it won't. But so far, they're great. It is true. I think that shiny new object thing will always happen until maybe Glovo acquires someone else and like we're no longer the new kids on the block. But it's been great. I think if you get the opportunity to learn and iterate on your own practice, craft, process, I think take it. I think it makes massive difference. That's it. That's my feedback.
Okay, guys, one last jab from the audience here, if we do. And then I'll just give some time for final remarks from everyone.
Hello, my name is Clary. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I just had a question. I wanted to ask, imagine you have a friend and he wants to be a product manager.
Okay.
What would you advise him? What path he can follow? Is it individual path or is there any best? So what would you advise?
Don't. One more PM.com. It's amazing. No, I'm joking. I do have an answer for that, but I'll leave someone else.
Shameless plug there.
Oh, me? Okay. Don't do it. No, I think there's different paths to get there, right? And again, we spoke a bit about support. Like support, I think is one of the richest ways to get there because you really get to know the customer, right? We get that experience from the field, and the pains and all of that. So I think that is actually a very good place to start, I think. But you can start by you starting your part of a business as well. Starting a business, you feel the pain of starting a business, then you fail, then you have that experience. That could also be a way. So there's a lot of different ways. You can also have an opportunity within your company to change and give it a go. But yeah, I don't have one single answer to that. But I would say this like having the experience of or building something or something that you need to offer to a customer, even if you fail, having that experience I think helps a lot.
I do have to give here people and product leaders. It's like the first question your friend needs to ask is why does he want to become a product manager, right? What it is that he wants to really do with his life in terms of career-wise. So I'm not saying that what do you do with your life? No, but it's why. Why do you want to become a PM? So what are the things that you really enjoy doing? What's the part of the life cycle that you really like to do? Because you talk with, again, to André's point, if we had 60 PMs here in the room and you would ask them, oh, what's your personal story? So how did you get into product? You would hear probably 60 very different stories. So people coming from the engineering side of the academic training, from social studies, from economics, from marketing, from whatever practice, you get them all. So I think that most people, there's no career path that it's a one line to become a PM. Stuff like what André has built and has grown in the last few years with 1 month PM. It's a very cool way to understand if that's something that you really want to do. Like it's, I call it the shock treatment for PM candidates. I do, and that's why, and then I know this, in my previous company, I made everyone in the product space go through 1 month PM. And so as
You're my best marketeer, by the way. You're a great sales guy.
What's your commission?
At zero. I don't. I'm not a good negotiator. He said marketeer, not salesperson. So ask that question first. So why it is that you want to become a PM, and then be sure that there's no straight line that will lead you there. Okay. And the best way you can have is that start having conversations with people in product areas, right? So understanding the pains, kind of getting exposure to the lingo, because my personal history, I realized at a given point in my career that I was doing 70% of the PM work anyway. So yeah, I looked at it. What's the next move? I want to do 100%. It was easy.
So I'm going to partially push back one thing you said. So I agree that the backgrounds of PMs are super diverse, but I think there's something that correlates with becoming a PM, which is you accidentally fall into the role. And now my answer to your question is gonna, like, people hate it, but so product managers of PMs, so product leaders, let's call that, they're on average elitist assholes. Not assholes in the typical like, oh, you're an asshole, I hate you, you're a super bad person. But it's like the elitist of like, oh, you need to be a PM for me to hire you as a PM, which sucks. It's a catch-22 problem, like chicken egg. Like, oh, how do I become a PM if you only hire people who've been PMs? The way I think is, so like when I'm hiring PMs, I look for three things. One is, do you know the discipline, product management? Two is, do you know the industry? And three is, do you know my product? Now, when I'm hiring outside, you probably don't know the industry. You definitely don't know my product. So you better know you don't know the industry, and you definitely don't know the product. You better know this discipline. That's why externally, we're going to hire PMs who've been PMs, because you know the discipline. I'm going to teach you the industry. I'm going to teach you the product. Now, the majority of people that fall into the role come from the inside of the company. They transition internally from marketing, from operations, from finance, from engineering, design, etc. Because these people know the discipline, know the industry and know the product. So the only thing they don't know is the discipline, and I can teach the discipline. I can take care. So they have 2 out of 3, while outside 1 out of 3. And generally, it's really hard to hire PMs. So if I have budget, I'm in a rush, and I'm very likely to have a lot of talented people around me, I'm going to skew to steal someone from another team into my team. Also, I get an insider from that team. The leader of that area is going to hate me for a bit, because probably I'm going to poach the best person of their teams, because I'm going to roll with PM still super sexy, like everyone wants to be a PM, because it is sexy. You get to work on a lot of cool stuff. Then you get into becoming a PM and you hate your life, but hey, that's but still, I think the best way to become a PM is to probably transition internally. And the fact that I'm building my program because I want to equip people. The promise I give the people who go to my program is not, I'm going to help you find a job. No, I'm going to equip you with the knowledge and the ability to ask questions, so that when the opportunity comes up, you're better suited than everyone else around you to transition internally. And I say this really plain sight, this is how you get to become a PM.
On this, I think it's also a tip. You can also exercise the PM discipline on your current job. So I think that's also interesting for you, as a mindset. So how do you prioritize your work, right? Why am I doing this? How to actually deal with different stakeholders, how to communicate. So all of this that is part of the PM discipline, you can actually exercise while you're in a different role. But I totally agree that internally, I think it's by far the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. And just to finish to Albuquerque's point, when we have to look beyond the titles, and I do love to look beyond the titles. Maybe that's why I'm getting such a hard time getting people into the team, because then we have a different part of the process where people don't fit. Is that three things that I really want to see in someone applying for product is that you need to be proactive. There's no way I'm going to hire someone for the team that is like a passive person or just reactive. Man, no way. You need to be proactive in the sense that you have to be curious. You like to go search for information. You have that drive, and then absolutely be teachable. The one thing that probably most of us in the product space know is that you will have to learn, man, again and again and again and again. You're always learning. That's one thing that it's true. Either from other people that work with you, or new techniques, or new frameworks, new tools, whatever. You need to have that time also to learn. So those two things are key for me to understand. The person that I have in front of me, they can blab about the discipline, and we then drill down just a little bit to see if it's true or not. But if I don't see that drive, and it's not about being extroverted or introverted, it's more about, do you care about what it is that you're doing, that you actually feel the passion to go after something? That's a big plus on my list. Right? So, guys, thank you for attending.
Can I jump in with one last super important question? Nuno, those are really cool socks, and how can some of these people get them?
Oh, did you notice?
I did.
Is that a shameless plug?
All you have to do is join Pipedrive. We're hiring.
But let me just
Get some cool socks.
everyone in the panel a few last words. Man, Franco, do you want to say something?
So we talked about a lot about purpose and OKRs and setting objectives. But sincerely, I think and it's something that André also talked about, not always roses. And I think in every team, and especially aligning between teams, nothing will never be perfect. And even through time, things may be perfect and they stop being perfect. People change, relationships change, projects change. And I think even the most important in collaboration is even communication between each person in the profiles, and between designers, managers, and engineers. And actually, from that starting point, have actually a process that everyone can iterate on how they do things and how they feel comfortable working together in order to create a better product together. Because next month, next 6 months, the problems will be different. The current process won't work. The challenges will be different. The priorities in the company will change, and this, I think, it's the most important, because if you have a way to actually change, you won't die.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not used to this. So last remarks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Key takeaways.
Key takeaways. So the goal of the conversation in the beginning was collaboration, right? Get people to work together to achieve more. I think like there's an amazing talk by a professor. He died already. He's Clayton Christensen. He wrote The Innovator's Dilemma, and in his amazing talk, he talks about like professional fulfillment. Like how can you be really like happy with professionally, of course. And he says like research shows that it's when you help make the people around you become better versions of themselves. And I think this typical capitalist approach gets us like in a rat race that we care about ourselves, our own ability to grow up the ladder, the ranks, become eventually managers and managers of managers, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people put the purpose and happiness, professional happiness in making a lot of money or shipping a lot of exciting products or getting the top rating from the whatever. And I really don't believe it's that. I really believe he's right. I really believe if you create a process within your team that everyone in the team is helping every other person next to them become better versions of themselves, and everyone helps the other do the same thing, and the team collaborates better and actually achieves more, which then correlates with you getting everything else that you believe it might make you happier. It actually doesn't. But yeah, I think that's kind of my final takeaway in collaboration.
Yeah, as a sub-product of that and not the end itself. Very cool. Humar.
Okay. Going back to the topic about collaboration, I think like my last remarks are that normally on a daily basis, like even that if you are an engineer or if you are product manager, if you are a product designer, you must care about the customer at the end. Like for me, I try always to, for example, when I'm on a mission or a project, I try to bring engineers to the interviews. I try to bring engineers also, not only engineers, PMs are almost there also, but for the usability testing. And why that? Like André said one thing in the beginning, that's, okay, we have different roles. And at the end of the day, we all like work on different paths. But then if we are a team and we all care about like the product, we care about the customer, we will build better. You will be a better engineer, you will be a better product designer, and you will be a better product manager. If you know about the business, if you know about the problems, if you know about your customers, if you are continuously listening to them. And that's about collaboration.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I agree.
My final maybe takeaway, I think we didn't spend enough time on the people part of it. Again, I think André mentioned this before, like the trust for me, like a key topic, because once if you don't have this trust, everything starts to, this is not like about product or engineering, it's like people. If you don't trust other people, right, everything that needs to be done together, it's going to be really, really hard. It will build frustration. So I think trust is really, really key. Try to create a connection. You don't have to be best friends, okay? I'm not saying that, but that connection of trust needs to be there. Okay. One thing that, just on a practical note, that I think really helps is having a feedback culture. We didn't speak about that, but I think the feedback culture is very important. But in Pipedrive, I think it works really well. To be honest, I think it's the only company that I've worked on that is actually working. The feedback is constructive and it's working. People take it, know how to give feedback and know how to take feedback. It's very important. And I've had experiences in the past that since the team gives feedback to each other, people realize something that they actually were not aware of. They were like, oh, did I do that? Oh, do I come across like that? Or did I do that? That is, creating frustration on other people. So this empathy from others comes from looking at feedback. I think that's really, really key as well.
Perfect. And thank you all for coming to the office. We have food and drinks available as we finish. For ones watching live on YouTube, thank you for watching and for connecting. And we'll see you soon with one on event. Maybe the last one here in this office, we don't know, because we'll be changing offices maybe in September, October, and we are super excited to host. When we have the new office, we will definitely host a meetup just to brighten up and get it fun. Stay healthy and welcome. Thank you.